All right, we're taking one more call before we get some more sound. You're calling from an 856 area code. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Space Ghost. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Space Ghost, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I am doing well. It's good to be talking with you. What's on your mind? Anything utopian? I'm just kidding.
No, nothing utopian today.
Okay.
A bit of darkness.
Oh.
I wanted to call in and ask if you guys were aware of something that happened today earlier with Khanna.
No. What happened?
If you're not aware.
No, what happened?
So, and this is something that I learned Derek Davison brought up on Twitter. So
What happened?
Tweeted about a possible, left-right alliance, and linked an article in the American Conservative by Tucker Carlson.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pushing that as a, means for a, left-right alliance against like establishment, neoconservatism, whatever you want to call it.
Was he talking specifically on foreign policy?
Yeah, well, so the article by Tucker Carlson is actually, and one of the reasons why Tucker is so dangerous is that it's actually a pretty good article
Right.
about Max Boot, and
Right.
he was, just trashing Max Boot.
Right. So, okay, now I have the tweets in front of me. I literally have not seen this before. Okay. Khanna tweets, at Tucker Carlson offers a devastating critique of interventionism and shows how much of the foreign policy establishment has failed the American people. There's an emerging left-right coalition and common sense for foreign policy of restraint. Now, I got to be blunt with you. From a congressperson, that first tweet, I don't have a huge problem with, to be really blunt with you. And I think Daniel Bessner has actually outlined this really well, that while there is absolutely fundamental different goals, different ideology, and different policy between an anti-imperialist left perspective and a, isolationist one, that's certainly in Washington right now. I mean, look, there's a reason that Bernie Sanders is teaming up with Mike Lee on Yemen. You know what I'm saying? Like, in Washington.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So I want to just be clear. Just the first. So the tweet itself, I don't have a huge problem with. I definitely have a problem that somebody's tweeting out a Tucker Carlson article from Khanna, because I don't think Tucker Carlson should be forwarded in any way, shape, or form. And the second tweet was asked if he thinks Tucker Carlson's project is white nationalism. I haven't watched enough or read enough about it to say what his primary object is. I know that in the conversations I've had on the subject, his project is to make sure America doesn't lose out to China. And then I'll say Derek Davison. The moral is, if you don't, this is Derek Davison's response, who's obviously been on this show a lot. The moral is, if you don't know who the hell Tucker Carlson is or what he's about, maybe don't run around talking about how neat it would be to form a coalition with him. So that's, I'm going to just steal from Davidson. That's my response. I agree with Derek Davidson. Now, again.
Right. And
yeah. That's yes.
There's, and I just wanted to say, about congressional alliances or coalitions. There's a huge difference between, say, working like Bernie Sanders working with Mike Lee and Rand Paul to stop the bombing of Yemen, because that is it's a limited contingent alliance with an end point. And they actually have power, so it's necessary to form those kinds of coalitions when you can.
Right.
Tucker Carlson is a media figure with an agenda.
I mean,
and an alliance with him.
I agree. 100. I mean, I've said this myself. I mean, not to interrupt you, but I mean, I've said this specifically when Jimmy Dore was running his mouth about this stuff. But so I agree with you. The only thing I would say is
exactly.
The only thing I would say is I think, look, Khanna is not Jimmy Dore. He's a congressperson. He's doing a lot of really good things. And he's also got some big blind spots. And I think, though, and frankly, again, I think we're also starting to see everybody's blind spots. Like AOC's got some blind spots, right? Like, so the response to this is respectful, in my view. If you want to engage with it, it's a respectful engagement that is also really clear. Like, hey, dude, don't, like, whatever this play is, don't fuck around. Because
yeah.
so that's but again, I just want to be really clear here. And I'm not. Please, I'm just alluding, like as an example, like if there is a resolution or something on like freeing Lula, very likely it comes from Ro Khanna's office. If there and the work that's already happened on Yemen and the leadership on Venezuela, that's him. Now he's already said things in the past, to be honest, about like Ukraine as an example, that people who know about that issue, who I think have a balanced perspective on it, have said is kind of problematic. So I don't, I don't know what to say here other than this needs to be responded to, but it needs to be responded to in a constructive, engaged, and smart way. And also one where, there's nothing to me. There's things where Ro Khanna might miss the thread on some things, and certainly you should not be fucking around with Tucker Carlson, and it's very irresponsible to. But I do not think that, Ro Khanna is a crypto fascist or anything like that. And,
no. Wait, can I just clarify for a second?
Sure.
No, I still think that, all of these are true, progressive, generally good, people in office.
Right.
Should be supported and rooted for. But that also means that we need to be able to engage with them constructively.
Definitely.
On what I think is a connecting thread for the blind spots of Ro Khanna and AOC, and that's a blind spot to propaganda and how propaganda works, especially on social media, and the need and bad faith criticisms or proposals that they need to wise up to what these are and be able to respond to them effectively, especially with the thing with Ilhan Omar and AOC's response to that, and also her kind of buckling to bad faith criticisms about Jeremy Corbyn.
Yep.
If they don't wise up to this, they're going to get steamrolled every time, and it's going to threaten their agenda.
And I think that's why, honestly, and I will broaden it because I don't want it to sound, egotistical, but I mean, honestly, people who work for these people really need to be watching and listening to the Majority Report and this show and TMBS and Democracy Now! I mean, the outlets that are able to thread this needle, because there are some outlets, even ones, by the way, I don't have to go as extreme as ones I just have fundamental disagreements with, but there's ones that I really like, and I'm not going to name names here, but I don't think they quite do as an effective job as sort of navigating some of these nuances that really are important when you're, doing a social media account and building political capital. So this is definitely a mistake.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a big mistake. It's a real mistake.
They need a propaganda literacy course.
100%.
I think everybody on the left does. Since
I think you're absolutely right.
Social media.
I mean, and I can say staffers in DC, Sam always talks about how they used to always check Drudge in the morning, but I feel in the last 5 years, the most sort of radical they would get in their media intake is a Planet Money episode on the earned income tax credit. And they think that that's the furthest end of liberalism. Now I think that's sort of changing. I have a buddy who met a few staffers for a senator in the Northeast on a flight.
Right.
And he was talking to them about different books they were reading and stuff like that, just to get a sense. And like Dark Money by Jane Mayer was their far left cred, which is fine. That's good.
That's good. It's a
but
great book. She's
that's
an amazing reporter.
That's them thinking they're stepping way out of it, right?
Right. Whereas that's just high quality, smart, mainstream New Yorker coverage.
Yeah, exactly.
There should be nothing. I mean, what's not mainstream is Morning Joe. Right. I mean, that's really the pathological problem. But, I would just say, I think actually, because I think someone like Ro Khanna is very attentive to this, and maybe I'll do. I mean, I'm a little embarrassed. I literally didn't know of this until you told me in this call, but I'll do some content around this, and the content will be, Ro, you're great, but dude, no, and again, not no, and I like that you see that distinction. You're in Congress. You're going to co-sponsor legislation. That is a completely different process. But as far as a kind of broader effort of building, alliances, you need to know exactly who the fuck you're dealing with and what they're doing. And because ultimately, even, I mean, first, it's a moral thing, but secondly, it's a strategic thing. I mean, this idea that some people have of aligning with Tucker Carlson is a fundamental portrayal of your natural allies, right? Like, again, I'm talking, let's just make it really strategic here. Morally, 100% it's wrong. You can't build an alliance with crypto white nationalism. But strategically, is it more important to reaffirm, and by the way, if you're coming from a progressive or socialist perspective, sometimes even persuade people who represent this broader America, which is the part of any type of left coalition you can imagine. It's people from every different background. It's people who are from, who are immigrants. It's, it truly is that mosaic, right? If you would sacrifice that for 1 second to appease Tucker Carlson, you've totally missed the plot, not just morally, but strategically. Now, again, but draw a distinction. That has nothing to do, of course, with, of course, have a robust national message that speaks to as many people as possible. It talks about Medicare for all. And of course, part of that coalition is, the fucking white working class. As much as I hate that term, there's working class. I don't need to slice and dice it, but you get my point. So the woke, pseudo woke people are going to try to say any type of national broad-based campaign automatically negates justice and identity. That's wrong and cynical in many instances. But conversely, if Ro Khanna's out there going, oh, here's the new alliance, it's with a fucking racist on Fox News, that undermines the project and the trust we need to build to get where we need to go. So it's a very big mistake. And they need to be
Tucker
on it.
Carlson has way more to gain from this than we do. And we stand to lose.
100%.
And there's a difference between a political constituency and political actors.
That's right.
That needs to be maintained.
You're exactly right. I appreciate the call, man.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thank
Have
you.
a good week.
Makes me want to watch Space Ghost episodes. It's been like since high school, I feel like.
They really do need some training, man. You just enjoyed that Michael Brooks Show video, and you can get a lot more by subscribing to us here at the Michael Brooks Show YouTube channel. It's literally right there.